Hey, what's up, dudes? It's me, Mr. Airon. Airon the history buff again. How are you guys doing? How's everyone doing? How you? I hope you guys are doing all good here. Um, in today's video, we're not gonna be doing like a normal, history, slides presentation, like I usually do here. But today, this time, because today I thought so. I was on basically on Kahoot here, and I was just trying to like basically search up like world history Kahoots here, and it turned out to my surprise here, and that there were actually some world history Kahoots here. And in today's video, I'm gonna be playing probably about like five or so, or like maybe play some of these Kahoots here. And yeah, but before we get into this video, if you guys haven't yet, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel if you're new. Don't forget to comment and turn on the bell notifications. That way you get notified by every video that I'll be posting in the channel. And yeah, let's get started. Alright, so I think for this video, I think I'm gonna pick one here, which we're gonna pick the Vietnam War Kahoot here, since I've not done a video about the Vietnam War, so why not go for this one here? Yeah, the Vietnam War from 1955 to 1975 was a provincial conflict in U.S. history characterized by the intense combat, widespread protests, and profound political and social effects. Okay, let's just play it solo. Alright, let's do classic mode. And I'll just game on. All right, I'm gonna put in my name. I'm gonna put in Mr. Airon. Boom, and go. Here we go. The Vietnam War. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay. When did the Vietnam War officially begin? I think that was 1955. Yep. Okay. Which parallel divided North and South Vietnam? I think it was the 17th parallel. Yep. Alright, getting some really easy questions. What was the capital of South Vietnam during the war? I think it was Saigon. Yep. Okay. What was the main goal of the United States in the Vietnam War? To stop the spread of communism. Yeah, it's pretty easy. Which type of warfare was commonly used by the North Vietnamese forces? I think it was guerrilla warfare. Yep. Which was the Ho Chi Minh Trail used for? I think it was a supply route. Yep. Alright, yeah. Ho Chi Minh. The Ho Chi Minh Trail was a network of paths and tunnels used by the North of Vietnam to move supplies and troops through Laos, Cambodia, and into South Vietnam. Okay, got it. Type the answer. Which chemical was used to clear forest during the... I think it was Agent Orange here. Here. Yep. Agent Orange. Yeah, Agent Orange. Yeah, that. Intended as a defoliant and yet caused long-term human and environmental damage. Its exposure caused severe health issues and environmental damage, affecting millions of Vietnamese citizens and civilians, and U.S. veterans. Okay, got it. Slider. Okay. Which year did the U.S. finally fully withdraw combat troops? I think it was 1973. Yep. Just like that. Which event marked the official end of the Vietnam War in 1975? I think it was the fall of Saigon? Yep. Okay. Approximately how long did the Vietnam War last? Oh, I think it was 20 years? Yep. Alright. Which lasting impact came from the Vietnam War? Vietnam was reunited. There we go. Very easy quiz here. Alright, so I think let's go to a different quiz this time. Alright, so now here's the second one that I want to try. Europe's colonization of America. Okay, so now let's play solo. Do classic mode. Game on. And I'll just type in Mr. Airon again. There we go. Let's get started. Europe's colonization of America. Here we go. Let's see what questions they offer this time. Who were the first known Europeans to set foot in North America? I think it was the Norsemen or the Vikings. Yep. Was led by, yeah, right here. The Norse expedition of North America began in the late 10th century. The Norsemen explored areas of the North Atlantic, colonizing Greenland and creating a short-term settlement near the northern tip of Newfoundland. And it was also basically during around this time when also one of the Vikings, like Leif Erikson here, was one of the first Vikings to actually visit it and explore throughout the continent in North America to establish, like, to fur and trading here until, like, yeah, and all that good stuff. All right, so let's just move on. Quit. Which European explorer is credited with discovering the New World in 1492? That's simple. That's Christopher Columbus. Yep. Quiz. Which country was the first to establish a permanent settlement in the Americas? I think it was Spain. Yep. Yep. The first Spanish settlement, the city of Santo Domingo, now the capital of the Dominican Republic, was founded in 1496 by the Spanish and is credited as the oldest European permanent settlement in the Americas. Got it. What was the primary motivation behind the Spanish conquest of the Americas? Ooh, I think it was gold, glory, and God. Yep. Yeah, right here. Spanish explorers, conquerors, and settlers sought material wealth, prestige, and spread of Christianity, often summed up in this phrase. Got it. In 1494, a treaty was divided a non-European world between Spain and Portugal was signed in which Spanish town? I think that was Tordesillas. Yep. Alright, which European country established the first permanent settlement in what is now known as the United States? Ooh, I think it was England. Yep, it was England. Alright. Double point. Here we go. Of which of the following has never been the name of a European colony in the Americas? I think it was New Portugal. Yeah, I don't think there was something that was named. We didn't find. Okay, that was pretty much it. Alright, let's go to the other one. Alright, so now let's get to the next one, which is one about the Great Depression. So I've already done a video about the Great Depression before here, so if you guys want to, like, basically check that video out, I'll put a video in the description below, but we're gonna play this Kahoot next one here. Excuse me. Alright, let's do classic mode, game on, and I'll just type my usual name, boom, and go. The Great Depression. Alright. Here we go. Puzzle. Ooh, okay. What event is widely considered the start of the Great Depression? Ooh, the 1929 stock market. I think it was the 1929 stock market crash. Yep. There we go. Easy. What was the unemployment rate of the United States of the height of the Great Depression? Ooh, I think it was like maybe 25%. Yep, okay. Got lucky there. What was the name of the makeshift shanty towns of the homeless people during the Great Depression built by the homeless people? I think it was the Hoover Hills. Yep, named after President Herbert Hoover. Yeah, look, okay, so the name of these shanty towns came as a criticism of President Herbert Hoover, who was blamed for the economic crisis. Many of these makeshift settlements appeared near cities, often lacking clear water, electricity, or sanitation. Right, alright, got it. How did the Great Depression affect everyday Americans, particularly in terms of food and basic necessities? Ooh, okay. Many people struggle with food. I think it's like this. Yeah, okay. Many people struggle to afford food, leading to the malnutrition and widespread use of soup kitchens. Okay. Type your answer. Alright, by 1931, Chicago bread lines were serving over the meals of suffering. Ooh, okay, let me try something. Was it 80,000? Let me see. Oh! Got lucky there. 85,000. Okay. Serving over 85,000 meals. Okay. those suffering from the Great Depression. Okay. Right. What's next? What was the name of the tariff that worsened the Great Depression by reducing international trade? Ooh, okay. I think it was the Smoot-Hawley tariff. Let me see what. Okay, yeah, the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930 raised U.S. import taxes to record levels, aiming to protect the American industries during the economic downturn. It actually triggered retaliatory tariffs from other countries, worsening global trade and depending in the Great Depression. All right. Which U.S. president introduced the New Deal to combat the Great Depression? Okay, that is easy. That's FDR. Yep. Puzzle. Okay. What was the New Deal program that employed young men in projects such as the planting trees and building parks? Ooh. Civilian Conversation Corps, I think. Okay. Right. True or false? Over 5,000 banks have failed by 1933, causing panic, bank ruins, and millions of Americans to lose savings. I think that's pretty much true. Yep. Type your answer. The Securities and Exchange Commission was established in 1934 to oversee and regulate the... wait. Save or stock market? Let's see. Oh, okay. Stock market or share or equity prop. All right. Okay. The Securities and Exchange Commission was established in 1934 to oversee to regulate the market. I think it was the same thing. Let me try it again. All right. Same thing. All right. What event is often credited with ending the Great Depression? I think that was World War II. Yep. All right, there we go. All right, I think let's go to let's do a few more or so here. All right, so now let's go to the next one, which is the Roman Senate in ancient Rome here, and yeah, let's get going here. All right, we'll do classic mode, game on, and then I'm just gonna type my name. And go. Here we go. The Roman Senate in ancient Rome. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Who established the Roman Senate? I think it was Romulus. Yep. Why was the Roman Senate originally created? To advise the kings of Rome. What was the primary role of the Roman Senate during the early Republic? Advising councils and other magistrates. Yep. Okay. Who were the key members of the Roman Senate? I think it was patricians. Alright. Julius Caesar was a member of the Roman Senate. I think that's true. Yep. Which event was related to the famous phrase Et tu Bruti? I think that was Julius Caesar's assassination. Alright, during the Roman Empire, the Senate acted as a supervisory body of the emperor. I think that's false. Yep. False. After the fall of the Roman Empire, the emperor held the true power. During the empire, membership in the Senate meant prestige rather than the actual authority. Right. True or false? The Senate survived the fall of the Western Roman Empire. I think that's true. Yep. True. The Senate survived for centuries in the Eastern Roman Empire, or otherwise you know it as the Byzantine Empire, but its power gradually diminished until the eventual disappearance in the 14th century. Right. Which modern institution was formed on the example of the ancient Roman Senate? I think it was the United States Senate. Yep. There we go. Alright, let's go to a next one. Alright, let's go to the next one about absolutism, enlightenment, and also of a revolution, most specifically new ideas. And this is all focusing all about like the French Revolution and all that stuff here, since I done a video similar to like this, like part of it. And yeah, let's pretty much just get to it. Let's just play solo, and I'm just gonna do classic mode. Alright, I'm just gonna game on. Boom, and go. Absolutism, enlightenment, and revolution. Here we go. Quiz. What does absolutism mean in history? A ruler or leader with complete power and authority, I think. Yep. True or false? Absolute monarchs believe their right to rule came from God, the divine right of kings. I think that's true. Yep. Absolutism flourished particularly during the 17th and 18th century in Europe. What were some of the problems it caused? Okay. It gave rulers too much power, which led to unfair laws and limited the freedom of people. Freedom for the people. Okay. Alright. What does the lavishness of Versailles reveal about French society in the 17th century? I think it was the monarchy that had extreme wealth while most people lived in poverty. Okay. Doing good so far. The Enlightenment was an era in the 1600s, 1700s that focused on reason and new ideas. Yep. Which philosopher wrote The Social Contract and argued that the government should be based on the people's will? Ooh, okay. I think it was Rousseau. Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Alright, true or false? Rousseau's Social Contract argued that rulers get power from the people, not from God. I think that's true. Yep. Who believed in the natural rights like life, liberty, and property? I think that's John Locke. Yep. Montesquieu's big idea was the separation of powers. Yep. Getting pretty easy. Yeah, Enlightenment key ideas. Enlightenment thinkers used reason and rights to inspire the American Revolution, 1776, and the French Revolution in 1789, where they challenged monarchs and the church with ideas like natural rights, social contracts, and limited government. Okay, yeah. In 1776, the Enlightenment idea of self-government led the American colonies to declare their independence from... Yeah, that's easy. That's Britain. Great Britain. Alright. In 1789, inspired by the ideas of liberty, French citizens stormed which fortress, marking the start of the revolution? I think that's the Bastille. Yep. Type your answer. The Enlightenment belief in equality was captured by the French Revolution with slogan liberty, equality, and fraternity, I think. Fraternity. I'm not sure if that's how you spell it. Yeah, okay, it's with the I. Okay, whatever. The Enlightenment and revolutions of the 1700s didn't just end monarchs, they sparked ideas about democracy, rights, and equality that continue to shape our world today, from constitutions to civil rights and movements. Okay. Nice. Okay, that's pretty much it. Alright, I guess let's go to 2 or 3 more here. Alright, let's go to the next one here. Let's do the Industrial Revolution. Alright, play solo, do classic mode, and I'll game on. Then I'll just type my name. Here, Mr. Air. Oop. Oop. Sorry. Alright, here we go. Here we go. The Industrial Revolution. Alright, the Industrial Revolution. Before the 1700s, most people lived in the rural areas and farmed the land. The Industrial Revolution changed this, bringing technological advances as well as social, political, and economic challenges. Got it. Which country did the Industrial Revolution start in the 1700s? Known for its coal, iron, and rivers. It's Great Britain. Yep. In 1764, James Hargreaves invented the machine that led to one more. I think that's the spinning jenny. Alright, yeah, spinning jenny. The spinning jenny is a multi-spindle spinning frame and was one of the key developments of industrialization of textile manufacturing. The spinning jenny saved the estimate to 6 to 8 times the amount of work compared to a traditional spinning wheel. Got it. Who improved the steam engine, making it a key for factories and trains? Ooh, I think it was James Watt. Yep. What fuel mainly powered early factories, trains, and steam engines? I think it's coal. Yep, coal. Multi-selection, okay. Which additional inventions were part of the Industrial Revolution? Oh, okay, so I think it was steam locomotive and the telegraph here. Yep. Puzzle. Cities grew fast in the 1800s as people left farms, work in the factories. Yep, to work into the factories. Industrial cities were crowded, polluted, and unsafe as workers rushed in for factory jobs. I think that's true. Yep. In the early factories, laborers endured long hours in hazardous conditions. Who did this involve? Here, nobles, men, women, and children. Yeah, men and women and children. Which system grew stronger, focusing on private business and profit? I think it's capitalism. Yep. Communist Manifesto of 1848 called on the workers to unite against a harsh factory life. Who co-wrote it? That's Karl Marx. Karl Marx and also Friedrich Engels. Which was not an effect on the Industrial Revolution. Growth of cities, strong workers' rights. Yep. The revolution that never stopped. The Industrial Revolution began in the UK before spreading into Europe and America, driving growth and changing how people lived and worked. Later advances in electricity, steel, cars shaped the 20th century and set the stage for today's tech-driven world. Got it. Alright, and I think that's it. I think let's probably do maybe one more here, and then I'll end the video. Alright, let's do the last final one here, and by guessing some of these historical figures here. This is also a pretty bit short one here. I don't think you guys can maybe find this one on the main page of the Kahoot of the World History Quizzes, but if you guys want to still like basically play this here, I'll put a link in the description below. But we're going to be playing the final one here, which is identifying which historical figures here. And yeah, let's play solo again. Do classic mode. Game on. And then I'll just type type my name one last time. Here we go. Historical figures. Alright. The quiz. Identify the historical figure pictured. That's Che Guevara. Okay. Identify the historical figure pictured. That's Nelson Mandela. Identify the historical figure pictured. I think that's Salvador Dali. Identify the historical figure pictured. I think it was... Yeah, Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe, okay. Identify the historical figure pictured. I think, yeah, that's Rasputin. Alright, identify the historical figure picture. Who else we got? That's Geronimo. Identify the historical figure pictured. Who else we got? That's Mao Zedong. Alright, it's getting really easy ones. Who else you got here? Oh, that's Billy the Kid. Identify this historical figure pictured. That's Anne Frank. Alright, alright. We're gonna think. Alright, we have Mark Twain. I think that's Mark Twain. Or Samuel Clemens. Okay. Identify the historical figure pictured. Oh, that's Margaret Thatcher, the British Prime Minister, who served in during the Falklands War. Okay. Identify this historical figure. That's Beethoven. Alright. Identify this historical figure pictured. That's Confucius. Yeah, it is Confucius. Alright, I think we got a few more left here. That's Muhammad Ali. Or Cassius Clay. Okay. But better know him as Muhammad Ali. Same for Mark Twain here. Oh, I think that's Solomon Boulevard. Yeah, it is Solomon Boulevard. And that's it. There we go. Alright, we did it, guys. We got Nancy. Alright, we did it. Robbie, woohoo, nice. And who's it gonna be? Oh, it's me, Mr. Airon the history buff here. Alright. Okay, so, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all the Kahoot games that I've been just playing here. And, yeah, so if you guys want to see me do more history content, something similar like this, like another quiz game or so here, or reacting videos, then be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel if you're new. Don't forget to comment and turn on the bell notifications. That way you get notified by every video that I'll be posting in the channel. And, yeah, and I'll, pretty much see you guys in the next video. So, Mr. Airon's out. Peace.